Hey, Sheilas, fuckheads, beard brethren, listeners, if you don't want to be a beard brethren, but we love you anyway. Welcome to Two Beards, a podcast of Wrexham AFC. I'm your host, Rousey. This is Adrian, mate. How you going?
Yeah, I'm going well, mate. I'm going well. Been a big week for football, and it's nice to be on the winning side of things.
Oh, it is. It is. We've turned a corner finally. We got James McLean.
Oof. Uh-huh. Oof. Running
Well,
down the wing. Uh-huh.
yeah,
Makes the
I
Wrexham sing. Uh-huh.
love James McLean right now. But today we actually have a special guest, which we're going to talk about very, very shortly. But if you do like our content and you have been listening and maybe you're a returning viewer, or maybe you just like what you hear, please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. And we've got more content coming up. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
More content planned, not just the
You're going
podcast.
to get
So,
sick of us. It's going to be great.
oh, yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good, isn't it, Adrian?
I'm very keen. I'm very keen. To be honest, we got a lot of things in the works. Even towards the end of the year, we got some things planned. Look, I'm very excited for the coming weeks and months for the pod even. But having Wrexham win a couple games as well is a little bit sweeter too.
That's right. That's right. And so by all means, like I've said it, share, like, share, subscribe. But if you want to become a fuckhead,
That's right. We're sticking with the name.
we're
That's right. We're
sticking with
embracing
that.
it.
Yeah.
We're embracing it here.
Um, it'll cost you $5 a month. You get free merch. Oh, not free. Why do I keep saying free merch? You don't. You get 10% off merch. You get free access to our Discord channel,
Yep.
permanent access. Like even if you end your membership, you'll still be in the Discord.
Free
Um,
wallpapers.
yeah, free wallpapers.
Special
Uh,
founding member stuff.
yeah, and you get shout outs and giveaways. So why not be a fuckhead? It's a great cause, and all it'll cost you is $5 a month,
So speaking of,
and
I'd
you get
like to do a
access to
shout
it.
out just very quickly to our mate Aaron, to Chris, to our mate Will and John. You guys freaking awesome people, and being able to watch the games, chatting in the Discord as well, whilst we're all watching it on our own ends, is pretty awesome considering we got it all around the globe. So means the world to us. I won't get too mushy because we're fuckheads and we don't do that, but we have fun. We have fun. That's the main thing.
If you need to know more, twobeardsmedia.com, and links will also be in the description as well. Look for the link tree. You can get all the information there. There's loads of things. And if you don't want to and you want to help us get to Wrexham, there's also a link there as well, because we do want to go to Wrexham and give you
We
guys good
really do.
content. But right now, we're going to split this up. We've got a really good episode ahead.
So
All right.
excited.
So we got after this, we've got the one, the only Bill Long. So we'll see you guys on the other side of this with Bill. So here we are with Bill Long, the man with the long bill, mate. How you going?
Not too bad, thanks, mate. It's currently, it's probably perfect temperatures for you guys, but it's like 32 degrees outside. It's 24. It feels like 32. But the hottest day of the year in the UK, and we're not built for heat. I'm not built for heat at all, so I'm kind of. If I've got a couple of grains of sweat going on, it's because I'm absolutely boiling.
we
Well,
actually we have a UK a massive UK contingent down here in WA, and it's always the same. Like if you ever run into them, it's always too bloody hot. Too bloody hot. It was like they hate the heat because WA heat is very dry and
oh, it's cooked.
it's like literally you can cook a egg on the footpath, like it's that hot. And it's
And their summer
relentless, and
starts
it's like
now.
months on end, just
Yeah.
constant like that. It's okay if it's like 1 or 2 days, but constant. And a lot of the
Yeah,
people from the UK come here, they really struggle with that.
yeah, absolutely. Fuck that. I couldn't live with that at all. I'm struggling in 24 degrees here, mate. Like it's anything more than that. Nah.
Well,
Hey, it's
it's
good if
funny
you
you
want to
say
cook
that.
bacon and eggs on the hood of your car. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
exactly. Well, because like funny you say that because like I'm in so he's in Western Australia, I'm in South Australia, so we're actually quite far apart. But we have a very similar heat because it comes off of the desert. So like Uluru and like Northern Territory comes off of there. Anyways, today was 24 here. And it's crazy because this is like, oh, lovely spring day is 24 degrees here. Whereas, yeah, like in Wales, it's like what 24 is like would be stupid hot, right? Like it's,
It kind of is. I don't think it's. I think it's more because it's like we're expecting to be putting hoodies and autumn weather on now. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like ended up being the hottest day of the year. It's like, fuck's sake.
It's I can't catch a break. Far out. I love it.
Yeah, does it get windy down that way?
Windy, rainy.
Windy, rainy. Okay.
Oh, I mean, like
sounds like Adelaide weather then.
Yeah. Autumn's a funny one because it's
gets that windy in Adelaide. It blew Adrian's hair off.
Yeah, basically that's what happened. Yeah, no, it all went around that way, but but like I could imagine, like I think, like we talked to Mark at the start of the year, I think, or around that time.
Episode 2.
There we go, episode 2. He's got the references, pulling out the tabs. But like it was spring there, and like just it seems like it's been hotter in the UK than normal. In general, it seems, and is that been kind of the vibe at the moment? Like, has it been a hotter summer than other summers?
Last summer was much hotter. This year, when it's been hot, it's been really hot. But we've had massive periods of just loads of torrential rain. Rest of Europe's been absolutely cooking, but just kind of typical UK, just floods and rain and miserable weather. Just how I like it.
Yeah, perfect. Good football weather. That's what I call it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's you just got to tell the Chester fans to stop sparking up the crack pipes. That'll lower the temperature.
But he's throwing punches. It's been 5 minutes in the interview, mate.
Oh dear.
It's good.
Nah, Chester fans are fair game. You can say whatever you want about them.
Yeah, I had one comment on. I put up a wallpaper. I made some wallpapers for the players and like put it up. And Chester fan, I said, would anyone like them if I posted them? And he goes, I'd rather put pins in my eyes. And I clicked on his account. I'm like, Chester fan. And I'm like, I fucking wish you would. Like, I wish you would put pins in your eyes. Like, just do it. Don't talk about it. Just do it.
It must be absolutely excruciating being a Chester fan at the moment. It must be awful. I've been watching Wrexham. I've been watching Wrexham all my life, but I've been like consistently having season tickets and stuff since I was about 15. So what's that, like nearly 20 years? Jesus. And we've had good chunks of time where we've been on the same sort of like a level playing field with them, and even there was a year before they got relegated to the National League where we were in they were a league above us, so they've had some good times, but like the good times they've had compared to us, like we've outstripped them so much. Like the trajectory is only up for Wrexham.
Yeah,
they love to give it the big into you international fans, but they are so jealous. It's unbelievable.
So
if there was loads of Australian Wrexham fans, Chester fans, wouldn't they?
I don't know. I don't even know Aussies know who Chester is, but if I was a legitimate Chester fan, I would seriously neck myself.
No, it's like honestly, it's like the tourism as well must be a pain for them too, because you'd probably get people who are, when I say ignorant, I mean not ignorant, maybe like just don't know about football rivalries, don't know, whereas they're probably wearing their Wrexham kits, down the main street in Chester because it's, it's not far. It's a day trip for some tourists who come over, maybe from Australia, from America, things like that. And they're probably just hate it because it's nothing to do with them. It's completely about the other side of town.
It's good. So you've been the voice of Dragonheart ever since I've listened to Dragonheart, since I started following Wrexham. What's it like being so, obviously you'd be well known now because like you and Mark Griffiths are like that, and everyone obviously knows Mark Griffiths and all that sort of stuff. But when they dig into it and read Dragonheart, they see you. Do you get noticed on the street, or what's that like?
Yeah, not really. I've been stopped a couple of times. I think Wrexham's just one of those towns, like everyone sort of knows each other anyway. You're kind of like, the people who were listening to me knew me anyway, and it would be more like, oh, I didn't realize you were doing that podcast. I watched it the other day, rather than it being like, oh, you're him from the podcast. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
No, it's great. I mean, we've been doing it. I've been doing it about a year and a half. Che's been doing it a little bit longer than me, and Mark's been doing it a little bit longer than him. But it used to belong to Cal on the radio station. I don't know if you followed any of that drama last year when that kicked off.
I did. I did have a bit of a read. Yeah.
That was just whatever. But it used to have different hosts. It's been going for about 10 years. But Kingsley, the guy who I don't think he started it, but he was the guy who Mark took it over. He's Kerry Evans, who's the disability liaison officer. It's her husband.
Oh no way!
Yeah. He used to run it when it was on Calon years ago, and I just think with work or whatever, he didn't have the time to carry it on anymore. So
fair enough.
He handed it over to the club. Mark took it on, and then it's just kind of gone from there. It kind of started in COVID because, like my association, because I didn't used to work with Mark in the school, but Che did, and because Mark didn't have anyone to do it with, because he couldn't go into a studio or whatever because of the restrictions, they were working with each other so they could sort of record socially distanced. Yeah. And then Che starts doing a bit more. He did a bit of the commentary during the COVID period, and then just eventually I got on board, and Che had a little lad, so he had a little bit less time to do. So I took a bit more of it on, and it just kind of went from there, really. But me and Mark have, like I've known Mark for about 10 years because I used to work in that school years ago, and then came back for a bit, and I've just left. Boring details, but yeah, we're all really tight knit.
That's awesome.
The conversations that we have, none of it's staged. Like, we're all four of us are really good mates, and it's just a laugh, really. And to be able to do it for the official club YouTube, I don't know how long we're all going to be doing it for. We're just enjoying it while it lasts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's bloody good though. Like, I think what I love most about, like you said, is that it's genuine. You guys are obviously mates, and you've done it before. And what I think is also great is, like, thinking about it this way, I guess, pre-COVID. So when did you get started into it? So what was it, just post-COVID?
I want to say it's about halfway through the 21-22 season.
Yep.
So
perfect.
I mean, COVID was still sort of around, but the restrictions had been lifted by then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a little bit better because, like, that's a good point, because, like, the way that I look at it, and Chris has mentioned it already, which is, we don't know anyone but you guys. Do you know what I mean? Because we're obviously part of that new contingent and that new fan base. And I think what's cool for us is, like, yeah, we know who you are. And I mean, I know that, like you said, you're quite modest. You say, like, oh, we know everyone. So, it's people just, saying, yeah, oh, good job, you do a podcast. But for us, I guess, like, you're kind of a celebrity in regard. Has any of the American contingent, or anyone who's gone over there, Canadian, Australian, whoever, wanted to have a chat and spark up conversation?
The fangirls, Bill. The fangirls.
The fangirls. That's the word. The fangirls. Because we're fangirls.
Yeah. Yeah, we get messages occasionally. I think they're more interested in Mark than they are the rest of us, because Mark is the superstar, isn't he? Let's be fair. Like, none of us would be where we were. Mark carries us completely. Like, I'm not trying to be overly modest. I can sort of understand that I can chat for Wales, like, but at the same time, Mark he's just a genius. So everybody wants to meet him, and, like, from a byproduct of that is sometimes they want to meet us as well.
He's kind of like the everyone's favorite uncle or favorite granddad.
Yeah, that's the one.
He's been around. He's got all the stories. Like when he came on our podcast, like we literally spoke for 2 hours afterwards, like after we turned off the recording, and it just got so like the amount of knowledge and stories that guy has is just mind blowing. But
It's ridiculous. Like, I do a podcast with him almost every week. I do the commentary with him sometimes. I haven't this season, but I did last year. I work with him. And then like last year when we played Sheffield United in the cup replay, I jumped in his car and it was 2 hours there, 2 hours back, and it was 4 hours solid of stories I hadn't heard before.
That's brilliant.
Even though I'm always talking to him. Do you know what I mean? It was like it's crazy.
I wonder when people are like that, if they just save the good ones for later, like the stories. I mean, like, or is it just come natural to him? Because the way like he almost gets better, and it gets better and better each story that comes along.
Yeah. I don't know. He's an English teacher, so he's good at the spiel, I think. Do you know what I mean? I'm an IT teacher. I just kind of sit at a computer, a bit of a desk monkey. But
well, you're in my field. I work in IT, so it's very, very similar. I completely know what you're talking about. It's definitely it's just head down, just keep working. Whereas my wife's actually she's a primary school teacher, so she I guess she's the mark in this relationship.
Going back to like Yanks or Americans that have met us. We did meet Ran and Ran's wife when they came over, and I've started doing that Teach Me How to Wrexham podcast with Ran. I'm not going to be, it's not always going to be me. There's going to be other guests, but I think that's the one that's probably had the biggest impact in terms of those I've met. But I messaged back and forth with a few people. There's Mike, Thrifty Nerd. We're always messaging back and forth, and there's a few other people that like we message, and it's nice. It's really nice. It's like it's just positive to be making these sort of relationships, isn't it? Across the globe, and it's crazy that people are coming together over Wrexham. I mean. On like a slightly different note, how do you guys feel about being the Australian fans when it's always the Americans that are referenced?
Oh, we feel left out all the time. Like we just made.
I was going to put like a diplomatic answer, and I knew Rouse would just be like, "Yeah, we fucking hate it." I think we're just jealous. We're just jealous.
I always try to say international fans, but it's just like sometimes it just slips. You just say Americans because it is. The vast contingent we speak to are Americans, but it is international, isn't it? It's
Brazil. They're like, you see that guy in Brazil who's got the Brazil page and he does the commentary. Bloody great!
Oh, I love his content. It's amazing.
So good. I don't understand a word he's saying, but I bloody love it.
Same here.
But I've been watching that Teach Me How to Wrexham lately, and it's really started to get into it. They had a really good one actually recently, and I'll put the link in the description of how to spot a fake shirt.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, that was a good episode. I really enjoyed that episode.
Damn. Now I'm worried I'm wearing a fake shirt like I bought off eBay.
No, that's trust me. Nobody was making fake Wrexham shirts when we were that crap because nobody wanted a Wrexham shirt.
To be honest, I think I was lucky because when the eBay thing went off, where people were just stupid selling like 500 USD for the one with the TikTok on it, just stupid amounts. I got on board before then, so I was on eBay just looking at people who had old shirts that they might have grown out of, or maybe just wanted to give up, and I was getting them for pretty reasonable prices. But I think just the doco dropped, and it just went, oh. You wanted it for $50? Nah, it's going to be $500 now.
It's really weird. So like retro football shirts are a big thing in the UK. I don't know what it's like, outside.
Nah, similar thing here. Yeah, for sure.
But Wrexham shirts have always been a little bit expensive because people tend to hang on to them, and there's never really many on the market. But shirts like the one you're wearing is like. Yep. No, nobody wants that shirt because it was a rubbish season. So
it was a terrible season. Great.
Oh yeah.
Terrible memories.
Awful. Oh no, awful. But it's a dead nice shirt. So like, you should still buy it. I'm not bothered about what the season's like. I actually almost put that one on today, but it's just so hot I couldn't be bothered sweating. Like it's.
I love that. But that's a great point. Like it's all memory based, right? Like what you experienced when you were wearing that shirt during that season, like, maybe we didn't go up last year. Maybe that TikTok one that I've got sitting on the shelf, I might just be like, not wearing that anymore. It's that kind of thing. So I get that. I get that a lot. And it's pretty similar here. Like, I guess it's a bit different because it's a lot of Premier League clubs, and you probably agree, Rousey, that it's all Premier League clubs in Australia. But like, I get a lot of people who compliment just, they don't even know Wrexham, to be honest. And they're like, oh, that's a nice shirt. Who's that? And I'm like, oh, Wrexham. They're like, isn't that the guys? The guys? And I was like, yeah, it's those guys. Yeah. They're like, oh, pretty cool. And then they just walk off. Like, that's as far as it goes. But
I nearly wanted to punch someone out that thought I was wearing a Man United shirt.
Oh, because it says United on the front.
Oh, dude. Like, legit, that's happened. Like, walking into a service station, just filled up my car, got my shirt on. We just recorded an episode. I'm walking. Someone's like, oh, you must be Man United. I'm like, you.
That's like the worst thing you could have said. Worst thing you could have said. Go for it.
Oh, sorry. There's people around here that are refusing to buy those shirts because it says United on them.
No way.
It's just like, no, I don't want a shirt. I don't want a shirt that says United on it. No, you can get stuff. There's not many, but there are people like, nah, it's all right. I'll miss out this year.
It's a good way to save a pretty penny, I guess, because like, I mean, they're not cheap. They're like, I mean, for us, we pay international shipping is £20, which for us is like 50 Australian dollars. Like, it's cooked. So you kind of have to do a big order when you do order from the Wrexham shop, because you're like, well, I can't just buy the shirt, because if I buy the shirt, I'm paying postage on it. I might as well, get more things. So you're like, I'm looking at luggage tags. I'm looking at like dog leads. I'm like, all right, let's just, make it worth it. But no, I get that. And
105 Australian dollars to get a shirt.
105.
105.
I think I paid 120, so I don't know what I did.
Well, how does that sort of stack up compared to, so if you would just go into a shop and get in I don't know, someone from the Australian League shirts, I can't, what's it, Sydney Jets, are they a team? If you were just going to get
there's Newcastle Jets, and
Newcastle
then
Jets.
Sorry. No, you're right. Like, that's pretty close. They are in New South Wales.
Probably about $5 a shirt.
No, it's not.
You find them in the bargain bin at the Salvo.
You know what though? You would usually, but like, no. Honestly, like, the A-League's kind of gone a bit. I mean, they're a pretty manufactured league, so it's actually like $120 to buy a shirt now. I remember when it used to be $80, and it was like $80, which is still expensive, but you were like, you knew why you were buying it. You're supporting the local league, and that's why honestly A-League's failing in this country, is because it's too expensive to, one, get to a game, two, the merchandise, and probably the third one, and probably the biggest one, is that they sold all the finals. So they do a playoff kind of thing, kind of like the MLS does. They do like a playoff for the championship, and they put all of those games in Sydney. They just sold them. They were like, no, we'll just sell them to Sydney. So if you're in Perth, where Rousey is, you're in Adelaide, where I am, even though I'm from Melbourne originally, you miss out. 5 hours. Yeah. 5-hour flight, wow. $900. What is it? $900 to get to Sydney for you, mate? Oh. Probably $1,000 now.
Well, I'll give you an example. They did the grand final when the Dockers were in it.
Yep.
And they bumped up all the pricing, and it was something like $3,500 just to go to Sydney and get back.
Yeah, for the melt. Yeah.
They kill it. They absolutely kill it.
They make a killing, mate. It's disgusting. That's why I think that's why we love watching Wrexham, I think, is because, when people are up in arms, saying, hey, this is expensive. It's like, yeah, no, I agree. Like, I'm with you 100%. Yes, you got to make money, but also, think of the fans that you're trying to get on board as well. So hopefully they've kind of, I don't know, seem to have gotten a lot more shirts this time around, or at least a lot more fake ones rolling around. So, it seems to be a good one. But I guess, Mike, lead on from that is, how much do you know about, I guess, Australian football and why Australian football, maybe not AFL, like the footy, Aussie rules footy, but like maybe like what we call the A-League. Do you know much about it? Does it kind of get across there at any time?
Not really, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
It only kind of cuts across when somebody who's played in the Premier League signs, or maybe someone from Europe signs for the A-League. and then if they score, it might show up on Sky Sports News. But other than that, it doesn't really cut
Doesn't
across,
touch
to be
it.
totally honest. But I mean, on the flip side, there's 5 pretty decent divisions in England alone. Wales has got, I like the Welsh Premier League.
Yep.
Not everyone else has tuned into it, but there's some good teams in that. You got the Scottish Premier League. Scotland's got another 3 divisions below their Premier League. There's the Irish leagues, and then you've got all the big leagues in Europe. It's going to be hard for that to kind of cut across, really,
across.
isn't it? Yeah.
I think it's interesting because I think the A-League's trying to, and this is probably not Wrexham related, but like, how Ronaldo went to Saudi Arabia and that whole thing happened because that's in what they call the Asian Champions League now. It's quite interesting because the A-League's trying to, I guess, even though he's not even playing in our league, they're praying that one of our teams makes the Asian Champions League and plays against Ronaldo, because then everyone will watch. And you might have seen what happened with the Matildas, with the women's Australian team getting to the semi-final against England.
I did a poll on that, and it was rather interesting to see how many Welsh people when Matildas versus England.
Yep.
And it was amazing to see how many Welsh people were like cheering on the Matildas.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, we fucking hate England. Like when it comes to when it comes to football, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, my dad's English. All my dad's side of the family are English. Even on my mum's side of the family, I've got some English there. It's not like a genuine hatred. Sport wise, nah. Anyone but England. People will see who you're supporting in the World Cup, and it's like if Wales aren't in, it's anyone but England. So I was gutted. I was gutted when you lost. I watched about the last half hour of that. Sam Kerr blazed one over the bar, and I was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And then they went and scored not long after. Like,
it hurt saying that. It was one of those things when, and it was one of those things where it actually united the country around football as we know it. But I guess in Australia, it's commonly known as soccer. But like, the whole nation, like my in-laws don't watch like football. They don't. Like, my parents don't. My dad despises football. He's an Aussie rules man. He's Australian this, Australia that. But like, the Matildas brought people together and brought in these, I guess, what do you call them? Not genuine fans, but like people who were just genuine about the country. And it's just interesting to see that it kind of reminded me of the Euros for when Wales qualified. And when Wales qualified, there was I know that it's a bit different because obviously football is such a big sport, but I know rugby also is a big sport in Wales too. So to see the whole country get behind it, it gave me kind of very similar situations, I felt.
To put that into perspective, so obviously there's the Champions League, right? So you got to think of like the Champions League, kind of like our Aussie rules grand final, where we even have a public holiday or bank holiday for the grand final over in Melbourne and Adelaide. They do, but over in WA we don't. But that is supposed to be the quintessential event in all of Australian sport. Every single year is that grand final, right? So put that on comparison with a Champions League final. The Matildas versus England did more views than an AFL grand final.
And the Champions League combined. It was something like was it 1/3 of the population was watching in Australia?
That's
and I know
crazy.
That's not, but
that was only
insane.
what they were able to track. Like,
correct, because they didn't track Optus Sport. They only tracked free to air, which is it's just insane. But look, I think that's what I love about what Wrexham brings is it is that kind of the unification of a town. And I know that Australia is a big country and it's a big population and bringing together, but it makes me appreciate following Wrexham and following that because, there is that kind of Aussie feel about it where in Australia, you get behind whoever's playing, it doesn't matter if it's the cricket, the netball, football, whatever it might be, you follow it. And I feel I get that with Wrexham fans, seeing the dark days, seeing, the terrible previous ownership. Obviously, sorry, couple ownerships ago. So what do you think as a person who's been through all of it, what was the moment that you realized that it was something special? Like this is it. Was it when the owners signed on? Was it later on?
It's a good question. I don't think there was one particular moment. I think it's been a slow drip feed of like every now and again you'll have like oh wow, this is fucking huge. Like this is something else will happen and you'll think, fuck, this is massive. When the documentary came out, that was when it finally arrived, that was a big one. That was like seeing billboards in LA and New York and like people from Wrexham who just happened to be on holiday in New York taking photos of like the taxis with the advert on the top of them. That's like, wow. Christ, there's people in the UK that never even heard of Wrexham, you know, and then like to see it on billboards all over the world was strange. And then like on a more personal level, just doing like commentaries and then like your phone pinging because X amount of people have followed you because they've listened to you on the commentary and seeing people from all over the world like just liking your stuff. And I don't mean that in a vain way, but you don't know. Even within like the commentary team, you're in such a little bubble. You're concentrating on the game. You're not paying attention to anything. Mark will look at the hashtag AskWXM and he'll reel stuff off, and sometimes I'll have a look at it. But when you get home afterwards and you look, it's like, shit. something I put out's got like 30 odd likes. I don't think it was even anything particularly relevant.
Tell him to stop ignoring me. I've done so.
You've got his DMs. Just give him a rattle it off in the inbox. No, it's funny. That's another thing you got to probably have to deal with, right? Is you've got so many people coming in now. Like you can't read everyone. You can't. You got to, and you try and keep it fresh and new. I know Cryptic is one of the Aussies here. He's in Tassie, I think, and I listened to him on the weekend. Got read out one of his questions, and I was like, "Oh, that's one of our guys!" Like that was crazy because it was one of those things where I was like, "Wow, this is cool." Like I think you guys must we only see what gets read, but we can't even imagine, just Googling the algorithm of Ask Wrexham. It must be insane.
It's just, I know it's like the least humble thing in the world to say that you're humble, but I'd like to think that we are quite humble, and it's just weird when you get a tweet saying, "Oh, I can't wait to listen to the boys." It's like I just feel like I'm with my mates. Do you know what I mean? Like the four of us are just chatting rubbish about football. It's like the fact that anyone, it's really nice that there's people who are waiting for our content to come out or the commentaries to be on, and it's the only frustrating thing with the Ask WXM is if we're in the middle of a dead good game, and when there's the four of us, we rotate in a free because there's only 3 microphones. So if I'm the one that's not on, I'll have a look through the tweets and like, oh, that's a really good one. Come on, Mark. Mention this one. Come on, Mark. Sometimes I'll have to give him a nudge and just like showing it. Read it. Like, it's good. Read it. But I don't know. Like I think the one problem we've had is it's kind of like growing pains. Like we weren't really ready for how quick it's grown. So I think maybe it's not something anyone would notice, but we've definitely made mistakes as we were trying to figure out what the best way to deliver content was, or just in general, and things have happened that probably people wouldn't notice, but you look back afterwards and think, yeah, we've actually got people listening to us now. We've got to be careful that we're like doing this the right way.
Oh, we're completely different. We just don't give a
we're just happy. We're just happy, mate. Like I think, what was it? I mean, before National League TV, literally, the games were the gospel. Like that was all we had. Like that's literally, and it's still probably a lot of people's most primary content is the commentary audio. The fact that it's now put over the top of the video. I mean, at least for me, it is. Maybe it's something to do with being a Wrexham I follow.
I don't know the specifics why. I haven't seen Mark in person for a little bit, so I haven't had the chance to speak to him, but they decided to put it over the top. So
sweet.
Best thing ever.
Best thing ever. Because we used to sync it up. We used to sit there like idiots, like just, all right, let's just get the commentary out, and you'd get like your phone and you put it connected to a speaker, then you'd get the game on the TV, mute them because God, some of the National League
It's
TV
either,
commentary
it was
from
either
other
listen,
mobs.
it was either listen to someone that's passionate about the club, that gets excited when they're charging down the wings and like really gets you involved, or listen to some other dude on the other side be like, oh, he's running down the wing. Oh,
Yeah.
he's going to score. He's going to score. Like,
And it's hard. It's hard because they're not like they weren't they weren't expecting people from Australia to watch National League. Like let's be honest. Like they were probably like someone who's commentary for the Torquay or whatever, probably just like, oh shit, there's people from, all over the world listening to us right now. Whereas we played last week.
You could literally use the previous commentary from the National League as like ASMR. Put you to sleep.
Yeah, it was very like calm. That's for sure.
It's really nice to hear this sort of thing, but you'd be surprised how many of the locals don't like the way that we deliver it. They want I don't know, I think maybe it's just because, I'm not saying you guys specifically, but a lot of, especially, I think, I don't want to be harsh, but I think a lot of our American listeners don't come from a sports background. They've not gelled with their American sports, didn't think they'd ever be sports fans, and then have gotten into documentary, gotten into the club, and then Mark is that perfect person to introduce them to the rules, the enthusiasm, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But for some of the locals, like they've lived and breathed Wrexham their entire life, they just want a non-passionate sort of almost just a bland description of what's happening, because they just want to know what's happening. They don't want to hear about pies. They don't want to hear about fighting.
How dare they? How dare they?
I know, fighting seagulls or whatever rubbish that we end up chatting about. They don't want to know that. They just want to know like who's on the ball and what's happening. And I get it, but I just think that the way we do it's better, personally.
Yeah, I like it. We love it. Like,
way better.
I can give you a perfect example.
Cheers,
I can give you a perfect example of what you just mentioned. I mean, Aaron's pretty much one of what we call our subscribers. I think Rouse has coined the term fuckheads, but I think it's pretty much not a great name for them, but we've stuck with it. but basically, one of them, Aaron specifically, I want to say he's in Indiana or Indianapolis. I might have screwed that one. But anyways, he mentioned he listened to a Premier League game and he goes, I just watched a Premier League game and they didn't talk for 20 seconds. And I was like, yeah, like that's what you'll expect. But then I realized when all you know is, for at least for football, and all you know is, Ask Wrexham, Dragonheart, commentary, all things like that, it must be like a different world watching, I guess, mainstream television. Because, yeah, I watched La Liga the other day and I literally think I agreed with Rousey. It's like ASMR. I was like falling asleep and it was just guys like not talking for a minute and then there'll be a good play and then they'll get back into it again. Whereas, I don't know, just it doesn't motivate me to watch it. Whereas what you guys do is so, yeah, it's passionate, it's enthusiasm. And you know what? Sometimes we want a bit of club bias, like you don't want to be, you don't want to hear someone say, oh, it probably wasn't a foul. You want to hear someone go, that's a foul. That's a fucking foul. Give him a card. That's what you want to hear sometimes.
That's why I absolutely love when Neil and Che are doing it, because I feel like me and Mark can be a little bit more impartial. But I mean, Neil is, he is just Mr. Wrexham. Like he loves that club. I don't know if you ever noticed he sings sometimes while he's on the commentary, joins in with a chance.
Last week,
it's the funniest thing ever. Sometimes it's a little bit awkward. You'd be sat there with him, it's like, Neil, shush now. Like, you just give him a little nudge, like, come on, mate. We're trying to commentate. You can't get involved with the chants too much.
Like, what was it?
You're getting involved with the James McLean chant by any chance?
Yeah, I think it was the McLean. Honestly, I think he might have. To be honest, I think it was that, or it was either our, it was just the, fearless in devotion kind of chant, and then it's like rising to promotion. You can hear him in the back, and I'm like, yeah, good job. I love that, and I think that's what makes it so quirky, and what in the best possible way. That's what you want. Like, we don't really have that. I mean, other than podcasts that talk about post game, we don't really get it during a game. Like, everything's kind of televised through the the big corporates, and they're not passionate about anyone. And even if they did play for a club, they're not they almost want to be anti their normal club because they want to seem legitimate. Whereas, like you said, there's no pretending. There's, you love the club, you give it your all, and yeah, it works out really good. We love it.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it. Like, it's none of us have been doing it for the plaudits. We do it because it's a laugh. That's it.
Yeah.
This is genuinely. I don't get paid. I mean, obviously, I get to watch the games for nothing, which is an absolute privilege. But we just do it because it's a laugh. I just do it because it's a laugh. I just love it. It's brilliant.
Oh, brilliant.
But
you don't have to put up with the ticketing chaos.
No. Luckily, I mean, I don't. So
Bloody
I don't
internationals.
I hate that argument. Right. This is where if someone was to ask me what like my biggest disappointment with it all is, and I've got to be a little bit careful, but it's not the internationals. Like, we put 75,000 tickets aside for 75,000. Geez, no, 75 tickets out of 10,000 is what I was trying to say. Sorry, like it's a drop in the ocean. And when we were rubbish, we'd get somewhere between 3,500 to 5,000 fans. That 75 is not touching the sides, is it? It's not the international fans that we're selling out for. It's all the people who used to pretend to support United and Liverpool before the takeover from Wrexham, who are now like jumping on the bandwagon. They're the problem. Like my cousin who used to go every week until actually he moved to Australia for 6 months, funnily enough. But
oh, no way.
Did a little bit of traveling. Like, he came back and couldn't get tickets anymore because he didn't get a membership. Wasn't sure when he was coming back. It's just a bit of traveling or whatever. He doesn't complain about internationals, but the reason he can't get tickets is because Dave from down the road, who's been an Everton season ticket holder for 10 years, has decided he wants a Wrexham season ticket now. So,
and it's I like that argument because that comes up a lot, I think, on the socials. I don't know, Rousey and I have a discussion about it, but like, I get where some people come from. They're like, well, what are the chances that 75 internationals want to go to a game? But I don't know. This year has proven, well, it's already, those 75 tickets are getting sold out. Like, if me and Chris were to come in, like, let's say a couple of weeks, and we have the international membership and we get the 75, there's still not a chance we get it. Like, because there is such a popularity around these international memberships.
Yeah, exactly. And I think even if, as far as I'm aware, when it hasn't sold out, the rest of the tickets have gone on general sale or to members or whatever. So they get sold out. Locals are sitting in there sometimes. It's great. I love it. I've got absolutely no problem with the international fans. I don't think there's a single negative about it, apart from the stick you guys get off the idiots on the internet. That's the only negative, really. But do you find it much day to day when you post it? Do you get a lot of stick?
People don't like to give me stick.
They don't give Chris stick because Chris is pretty much no filter, which is fucking great because he will just call someone out. I remember one person tried to, he called him out on the pod and like nothing ever again. Like, no one's touched the bloke. But when because I run the Australian Wrexham supporters Twitter account. So that's my baby. That's what I'd run. Because of that, I can't really join in I can join in the discussions, but you get like a Notts County zone, or you get a fucking fan from Doncaster, or you get a fan from fucking one of the ones that are a bit more hypocritical, like MK Dons, calling us plastic or something. And I'm like, look at the mirror, buddy. Yeah. But I think the big thing for me and Rousey is like, I followed football all my life, but I followed local, and my mum's Scottish, so I followed Celtic, right? That was always been...
Yeah, it's good, good choice, by the way.
Good choice,
fantastic. Fantastic win at the weekend, wasn't it?
Oh, so good. So good. Kyogo's a superstar. That guy's going to be at Madrid in like a year. But I think that's where whereas I never had an English team. Like when I say an English team, I mean an English system. Welsh. But I mean English system team. Do you know what I mean? Like in the system, in the EFL, that's the word I was looking for. But yeah, like a Welsh team, and I didn't have anything like that. And so for me to go for this, it's not like like you said, jumped from Liverpool or Man U. It didn't happen that way, but you'll still get people who come on and be like, Australian, Australia, I bet you didn't know about them till the takeover. I'm like, yeah, Yeah, pretty much. Like, it's accurate. I don't know how that's a comeback because I still enjoy it. I still get up at 4 a.m. to watch us play the under 21s. Like it's not. Yeah, it doesn't change anything.
Exactly, and it's a weird one because at the end of the day, like my like I said earlier, my dad's English. He's originally from Birmingham, and I've followed Villa my entire life. I'm not gonna. I don't hide that. I am a Wrexham fan first and foremost, but I watch Villa. I've gone with my granddad a fair few times, and the end of the day, like there's plenty of people who also support United and Liverpool and Coventry, apparently.
Coventry, yeah. and that happens, and that's okay. And I think the best part about it is exactly what Rousey said when that argument popped up, because I always made a joke. I'm like, oh, you two-teamer. Like, that's such a big statement I've seen online lately. Oh, you're two-teamer, you go for these two. Who cares? Do you enjoy yourself? Great. Awesome. Do you support the club? Great. Awesome. Are you going to stop supporting the club? Probably not. And I know me and Rousey, like we both got tattoos. Like we're not going anytime soon. Like, we love the club. We love it. You know,
a lot of people know my journey with Coventry by now, because I only really followed them because that was where I was
born there.
That's
it.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I do remember seeing your story when we played them, actually. Yeah, I didn't connect the dots that was you. Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was me. So yeah, they're barely even a thought now for me. Like, just because I was never there, like, fully connected with it. I was trying to do the Aussie thing, but yeah, just something about Wrexham. Like, take the owners out of it. Like, with me and Adrian have
not even in the equation.
Like, the owners aren't even part of the equation for us. It's yes, they've introduced Wrexham to us, but it's more than just the owners. Like, you know, I couldn't care less if bloody Alex Ferguson owned the club, or God knows, or, you know, anyone. It's like, yeah.
Football's a funny one because you get people who their entire lives have had their dad, granddad, mum, whoever indoctrinated them to their local club, and their club might be shit, like MK Dons, or well, I suppose it's not their granddad who's got them into MK Dons, but you know what I mean. Like, just like these sort of clubs, not county zone. I'm not entirely sure he knows his family, but that's another thing altogether.
Good. Finally, someone's gone at him.
But, you know, like they get pressures. It's because they have to justify why they've supported their crap club their entire lives. So they don't like the fact that someone has come along and chosen another club. It's like, oh, well, I've been stuck with Notts County forever. Why can they come and decide who they want to support? And it's almost like a weird pride thing. Do you like console wars? With, like, PlayStation, Xbox.
Yeah.
And basically that just comes from you can only afford to buy a PlayStation or an Xbox. And when you've bought one, you're like, oh, Xbox is rubbish because you bought a PlayStation. It's okay, it's maybe not money, but it's that time and emotional investment. People feel the need to, like, be overprotective of it. Well, I don't care. I don't care who you support.
The big one is the PC master race now, isn't it? Like, I get, you know, I must admit, like, I've got a PC now, but like, I used to be a console gamer my entire life, like PS1 days, PlayStation, everything. But I had nothing against Xbox. But like, I never knew until I worked in the IT field, I guess, was probably where I was most introduced to it, but maybe even just high school. But people just get so passionate about those kinds of things. And yeah, you're right. Like, it is a similar thing with football where it's like, well, I've liked this since the beginning, so you can't like it. Like, my mate has been Xbox all his life, just bought a PlayStation. I'm not going to be like, you dog, like, what have you done? Like, kind of thing. Like it's not like, it's that kind of thing.
That's the biggest thing that people use against me, because they know it grinds my gears, is when they say I'm either a trader or a two-teamer. Like, yes, you can have two teams that you follow. That's perfectly fine, but I don't. Like, I'm all Wrexham. I do not care. Someone comes in and tells me that, oh, you know, yeah, cool, got a Coventry shirt. Cool. So what? My family all from Coventry. But
exactly.
It's great Wrexham, and anyone that says I'm not, I'm just
no one battles Rousey on the internet anymore, I don't think.
But how Switching gears up a little bit, how have you seen, or in your opinion, how have you seen the start of this season? Is it panic stations? Are we
Nah.
building into something?
Nah. We missed Mullin. I know that's like the most obvious thing you can say, but I just think that's about it, really. We're creating
Become
so
very
many
apparent.
chances. Yeah. The stuff with Luke Armstrong was really unfortunate, but I don't think signing someone like that is even necessarily the answer. Ollie Palmer's been really unlucky. He's had chances. Sam Dalby's been really unlucky. Billy Waters, I mean, if you watched the Newcastle game last night, Jesus, I felt so bad for him.
245.
People
Maybe
one of them away.
That bicycle kick, like, oh, if that connected, that would have been the
I
stuff
know,
of dreams.
and he's going to be getting pelters on Red Passion or wherever, isn't he? There's going to be people who've completely written him off, but he's getting into the positions. I'd rather a striker be taking chances and missing because it means that they're having a go. As soon as they start passing and not taking those shots, that they're buggered because their confidence is completely gone. So I mean, Parky's teams always start slow. I think we'll build into it. I'm not sure whether we'll go up automatically, but I think we'll build into the year and just takes a bit of luck sometimes as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the win for me, like we said it at the start, I know that like automatic promotion is obviously the goal. Like that's what we all want. But, even just staying up is a win in itself because a lot of people who go up come straight back down and that can happen. So I don't see us doing that. It's just not on the equation in my book. But like seeing someone like, Waters, like have a redemption. In terms of my eyes, like I was pretty hard on him against MK Dons early in the season. It just felt short. Like it just everyone he was playing on, it was just half the size, and I'm like, he's literally the ball gets into the air and he's screwed because it just can't get to him. But last night proved me completely wrong, which is like you said, he's getting in the right areas. So I think it's great to have that improvement and seeing that improvement game to game from someone like that we need right now. It is positive.
Oh, and don't get me wrong, he might not turn out to be the player for us. I'm not saying people who criticize don't have a point. It's just kind of like let's
give him a chance.
See where we are halfway through the season before writing these people off. Really,
yeah.
Completely.
Do you think with the Armstrong thing happening, do you think that means we're going to bring someone else in through the free agency, or do you reckon we keep who we've got and sign the 22?
No, I don't know who's available. I mean, the kind of names that have floated around are like people like Shane Long. It's like I always used to tell the kids that I teach that he was like my Irish cousin. None of them ever believed me, but I tried my best. But like is he going to want to drop down to Wrexham? And if he does drop down to Wrexham, has he even got the legs to carry on playing at the level that we need? Shane Long's not a poacher. He's not somebody who's just going to knock goals in. He's more. He's not the only one who's free, but you're just weighing up that will they come to us? And if they do come to us, how much money do they want? And if they want a shed load of money, how much impact is it going to be worth? I don't know. I wouldn't rule it out, but I just think we'll probably stick with what we got. The only way we go and spend a load of money is if Mullin is out for a bit longer than we expect, really.
Well, with the Armstrong thing, obviously, with whatever the fax machine broke down or whatever, but like the way that I look at it is exactly like Rousey actually made a very good point off air, and Rousey might want to speak to it a bit more, but 500,000 seemed like a bit much for a player from Harrogate. I'm not. Maybe I'm just talking out of turn here. I don't know, but Rousey made a very good point about that earlier, and I was like, you know what? It is a pretty big one. Do you reckon that stings us if we try and sign
goals, one? Though it's not Mullin goals. Like,
yeah,
you look at how many goals Mullin has scored, like previous to joining Wrexham. I think he scored 31 in
Cambridge,
League One. And then obviously with us last season, upwards of 46 goals, and we're going to go out and pay $500,000 for someone that scored 16 goals in what was it? 16 goals in 30 games.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? It did surprise me when the figures were starting to be sort of bandied around with how much we put in for him. But I'm also of the mind of like, it's not my money. I couldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
If they want to spend it, as long as they don't bankrupt the
Smart.
club, fuck it. Like, what difference does it make to me?
Yeah, good call. No, I like that because I always wonder. I always wonder when big figures are thrown around. Like, okay, well, we didn't get it, and now we're going for someone maybe bigger than him, maybe someone who's in higher leagues. Do you reckon then they use that as the benchmark? They're like, well, you were going to pay for him that much, therefore I expect this.
You are right. It is a problem. I'm being a bit blasé about it. You know, it is an issue, isn't it? You don't want the Wrexham tax to get any bigger than it already is.
Yeah. But it's a good point. Like, I think that's how we should all be, really. You're right. Like, yeah, okay, 500,000 is a bit much, but it's like you said, they're not stupid. They've got some of the most brilliant minds, like in terms of Sean Harvey, who bloody ran the AFL. So, like, you know, you've got someone who obviously knows what they're doing. And I don't know, like, who else runs in that financial aspect, but I'm sure they're not dumb. Like, they're not putting out offers just because of it. They surely can, like you said, can spend off of it. And I reckon there's a lot more money coming in for this next season of the documentary to come out. I think that's just going to, I don't know how much goes to the club, but I'm sure there's a big cash injection.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, another way to look at it is 500,000 spent on, it's not happened obviously, but if it's 500,000 spent on a striker and he does only score you 16 goals, but those 16 goals come in 1 goal a game in 16 crucial games and he wins you all those points.
Yep.
And we end up getting promoted, we make that 500,000 back on sponsorships, the prize money for the league, whatever else. Sometimes you do have to speculate to accumulate a little bit. And then obviously, you're like, Rousey, you've got a point. Like, on the flip side, he comes, those 16 goals, most of them are scored when we're already 4-0 up. And it doesn't make any impact. It's a lot of money to spend, isn't it? So you'd be a football manager. You know, it's a much tougher job than it's given credit for.
That's for sure.
I mean, I was really kind of hoping that Parky would just make do with what we got, tread water, and then wait until Mullen comes back and then restructure the team back to how it was and see how they go there. But I think, it's been good to see some of the changes. James McLean, we've spoke about him previously. Like,
he's good.
What a player.
He's ridiculous against Tranmere, wasn't he?
He was.
Outstanding.
He was. And I'm gutted we're not going to see a backup of that against Doncaster on the weekend.
Yeah.
It's you know, that Tranmere game, I get so excited about it, but also get so angry about it because I'm like, we only won 1-0. We should have kicked like 4 or 5. Like, it gets like, there was some seriously good play from both Elliot Lee and James McLean, and just the synergy, and then Aaron Hayden coming back being Aaron Hayden, which is getting the goals that sometimes just need to be done from those set pieces. Luke Young starting. Speaking of, I guess, from the season so far, who would you be your standout player?
Well, Luke Young. I think he's been the best player.
Yeah.
Him and I don't know. It's him and Elliot Lee, really, the two that have made the biggest impact. And I love Luke Young and I love Elliot Lee. I mean, like, you got to remember, lads. You know, like, we spent pre-takeover like 14, 15 years watching absolute dog shit in that division. Like, so we had some
Elliot Lee's famous celebratory shot there. He's been using that. He's been milking that for everything it's been worth for the last 3 weeks.
But you know, like, and you see, look, everyone looks at things in like the context of how it's going. But I do think some locals who've been watching Wrexham for a long time kind of forget some of the crap that we've been watching, and that these players, even someone like Billy Waters, who's maybe not having the best of times of it at the moment, would have been our only good striker in some of the seasons that we had. You know, he's like that. He's like probably, like, you'd say, is our 4th choice and would have been our 1st choice 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So just take it for what it is. You know, that's
it. That's a good way that's a really optimistic view about it. That's a good way to look at it, because I can be quite pessimistic at my views on the season and be like, you know, we're just going to be lucky, scraping for playoffs, things like that. But like, you're right. Like sometimes it is just enjoying the fact that we do have that luxury of choice and those players. And, we brought in Foster for what, 16 games, 12 games, like,
Yeah.
and he'll go down as folklore because of, certain moments that he needed to step up. So, why not enjoy someone like a Billy Waters who might not be on right now, but when he is, it might be at a really important time, and we'll be talking about it for years to come.
Do you think Elliot Lee knows that shot? What people are saying about that shot?
I'm sure he'll be pleased if he does. If he does know, there's worse things to be said about you, isn't there?
Well, we've coined it as a term. So now, if you've got an erection, we call it having an Elliot Lee.
Having an Elliot Lee. Yeah, it's not catching on.
Hey, Bill, we did warn you, mate. Come on.
We are so sorry for your future employer. We are so sorry. But look, that's a fair point. Like, is these players probably, it's a change for them too, right? Like, I'm more thinking the likes of maybe like a Luke Young, who has been there since the beginning of this build. Like he's well, I can't name another player who's still there really. I mean, Bickerstaff, was he? No, he wasn't around last couple of years.
Bickerstaff and Cleworth came through the youth system, so how much?
That's right.
They were probably a little bit insulated, just being kids in the youth setup or whatever. Jordan Davis came through the youth setup, went to Brighton for a bit and came back, but with him being a local boy, he'd have known everything that was going on, and he was there pre-takeover. He was a summer signing just before the takeover, so. But then that's it. There's no more, is there? None of the other players will have any sort of frame of reference for it. So why I think Luke Young's really positive having him around the place, because he can sort of maybe keep some of them in check if they ever get a bit over and above themselves.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
That's
a massive point.
Who doesn't get registered? Like, we've been racking our brains over this one. Who does not get registered?
I don't like this question.
I hate this question because every single one of those players has given their all for this team, and it just sucks.
I'm looking at the squad list right now, and I'm trying to be like, oh, it's not that hard, and then I'm looking at it like, nah, it's pretty hard.
I guess first of all, it depends on whether we're going to sign another player.
Yeah, true.
As a free agent, because like you were saying, they've got it'll be really telling if there's a place left in the squad. When it gets announced later, because then we'll know for definite that they're hoping to bring somebody in on a free, and then I don't know. I suppose the main candidates. So you've got McLean and Mendy are the two playing who are going to be our first two choice left backs.
Yeah.
So how does Callum McFadden fit into that?
Yeah,
I think it would be really unfortunate for him if he misses out, because I think he's quite underrated.
He had a really good game against Newcastle too.
He did, yeah. He usually plays quite well when he plays. It's just he's maybe not quite the quality of the other two.
Yeah.
And then you got McAlinden, but he signed a new contract just before the start of the season, so surely he's going to be included into the squad, because why would
you'd hope
sign him? Yeah, yeah. I mean, Bryce Hosanna then he's the only one really. Too. Oh, he'd be super unlucky, but maybe he needs to go out on loan and get some game time into, to build up his physicality with the injuries all the time. So I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm going to be depressed reading that retained list, not retained list, the squad, regardless of who it is that misses out, because I feel sorry for anybody who doesn't get on there.
Yeah,
especially this journey, the being in the football league again. They want to be part of that ride.
I mean, I was
thinking.
I was definitely thinking Bryce Hosanna.
He's so fast, and when he plays, he's so good.
It's
heartbreaking.
We've got players that are better.
Yeah, we do. I know. It's just
call a spade, But I think.
Parky was hell bent on Bickerstaff going, like at the start, like before he had his bit of run to being scoring a couple goals. But I don't think you can. I don't think you can. I don't think you should. I thought there was a case for Dolby until he scored this morning about him going out. and getting some form and coming back. But yeah, like now I'm like those two are lock-ins for me because Sam Dolby is influential last year. You know, being especially coming on, I think it's good to have him start. I like that, but I'm hoping we get back to a point where, you know, he can either play less minutes because he has far more of an impact, it seems, fitness wise, when he does have those short bursts.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty fair. I think if we'd have signed another striker, it would have been really interesting to see out of the strikers would have not filled a place. Because I the only thing is with Dalby is that if Palmer gets injured, which is a possibility,
yep,
he is. Older. They're just like for life them two, aren't they? So
yep.
Mm.
One in, one out. You can't put a Waters in that spot. He's too short for that kind of position. I love Waters, by the way. I keep shitting on him because of his height. I think it was just that one game against MK Dons where he played against like the tallest defenders I've ever seen. They were like Amazonians, like warriors, like they were like from like the Wonder Woman, like comics.
Adrian, mate, I thought you would have learned by now that big things come in small packages when you look at Elliot Lee. So come on.
Yeah, that's. I seriously, and I feel bad because when guests come on, they probably just wonder, how do these guys still have a following? Like, how do they even still exist? Like, it's like we say shit like that, and I'm like, yeah, someone's canceling us this week.
I'm telling you, there's definitely a market for this sort of thing. You know, like there's definitely some Wrexham fans out there who are enjoying this.
Oh, hopefully. Hey, and if you are one of them, let us know. If not, just yell your abuse towards Rousey. Just at him, at Rousey Wrexham.
But hey, I think you might be right. I think Fads may be on the out. Yeah. As much as I hate to say, because I do like Fads, he's a top bloke. But it's like, who do you let go? And what happens
last game?
That's the thing. What happens if you don't?
What was his last game? What was his last? Is his last game that brain fade that he had with the keeper, or where the keeper?
I think that might have been his last. Oh, has he played this season?
Did he play any cup games? I don't know.
Not sure. He played last night, didn't he? But other than that, I'm not sure.
Too sure.
Did he play against Wigan? Maybe, but
I mean, maybe it's telling. If he did play, then we're not remembering. Maybe it wasn't memorable, so it could be another reason for him to go out.
The only other thing is that the squad doesn't count for the cup games, does it? So maybe if Parky's to like these guys might not get a better offer than staying at Wrexham, at the moment.
Sure.
So maybe they'll just think, stuff it. I'll just play all the cup games. Happy to sit around in case come January they've done enough in the cup to impress and get back into the squad, or failing that you sit in the stands and collect a nice fat wedge. So it could be that these guys aren't really bothered about playing because it's just the way modern football's gone. They might not be bothered at all about playing. It's a job, isn't it, for them?
Yeah, fair.
Come on, lads. You couldn't tell me that if someone offered you triple or double your wages to sit around doing on a bench. Nothing.
Exactly.
Mate, that's what I do right now, and I do it for half the price.
And I think that's what's forgotten about footballers sometimes. Like, people call them greedy, but and all this stuff. From a political point of view, I don't particularly like Saudi Arabia as a country. So sorry, all my Saudi fans that are out there.
Yeah, but, we have a lot of Saudi listeners out there.
How much do you think that those Saudis will pay for Erling Haaland? It's an interesting question, that one, because I was talking about it with my mate the other day because we were discussing about how amazing Erling Haaland is. As much as he's playing for the wrong team, he should be playing for Wrexham. But
we get Haaland, I'll literally eat all of my jerseys on live camera. Like, I'll get all of my jerseys in a row and I'll just eat them straight up.
You said the same thing about Declan Rice.
He's got an obsession with Declan Rice. I'm sorry. Like, it comes out from time to time. He's not coming and he never will.
But
I just can't wait for Declan Rice to be 45 and sign for like one last year contract for Wrexham and you have to eat all those jerseys live on
shit. Shit. Like, and he
No,
probably bench warmer too. He probably doesn't even start any games.
yeah.
I mean, obviously, Man City paid a record amount to get him across from
Borussia.
Dortmund, was it?
Yeah.
BVB. So it makes me wonder the stuff they're forking out for guys like Mo Salah, for Ronaldo and all them, like to get them to come across to the Saudi league. I wonder what they would pay for someone like him.
It's crazy, isn't it? What were they rumored to be bidding for Salah? It's like 200 and something million euros or something like that. I mean,
it was ridiculous. I think it was 175 million.
I mean, if they're willing to offer that for a player who's 31, nearly 32, coming to the end of his career, probably got like a year or two left on his contract, how much would they offer for Haaland, who's, 23 or something like that?
Yeah.
Got the rest of his
career
career
to be $1 billion.
Yeah, easy.
Well, how much did they reportedly one of the Saudi clubs, because Mbappe is like on the outer, like at PSG at the moment because he wants to go to Real, and Real they want to wait till he's on free. And then I don't know too much about it, but didn't they put in a stupid offer for him to just play for one season? Like, and then I think Liverpool even joined in just with probably half the amount, but
yeah, wasn't it some? I don't. You can't do everything you read online, but
you can't.
Wasn't he due to get something like 300 million a year or something crazy? Like even it's going to be like $1 billion a game plus this bonus plus that bonus plus a huge signing on fee and everything. It's like Saudi's got more money than sense, haven't they? It's that.
Yeah, they literally do. There's no way they're making money off that, off paying fees like that. They just literally just throwing money away.
Well, the Chinese league was a massive example of it, right? Like China put in, I mean, maybe they didn't get the likes of Ronaldo and Benzema and I'm trying to think of someone else, but no one else, Henderson. But like, you look at these people and you go, Gareth Bale went to China, didn't he? He went to China for a bit.
He
almost went to China.
He was really, really close to signing, but at the last minute, Real pulled the plug on it, apparently. But he was going to be on double what he was on at Real Madrid, and that was already like £350,000 a week or whatever.
Exactly.
Stupid, like.
But no one's watching the Chinese league now, right? Like, and that's not shitting on their league. Like, I'm sure there's got some great players, blah blah blah. But it's like that Hulk. Who else? Aaron Moy went, and poor bastard then had to go to Celtic and he wanted to go to Celtic afterwards because he's like, just get me out, Ange, just get me out, and got him out of there. But like, no one's watching the Chinese league. Like, it's just one of those things where like I don't know, but I admit I might have flicked on a Ronaldo highlights that's on Optus Sport for the Saudi league where it shows Ronaldo had 3 goals. It's like, yeah, but who cares? Who's he playing against? Like, yes, Benzema plays in another team, but they're all one player in one team. Like, it's not like there's a full team full of these incredible players. It just seems to be just a lot of has-beens. And yeah, I think it'll die off soon. And yes, they've got money, but does it last?
It depends if they keep. It really does, like you say. It depends if they just keep funding it, isn't it? As soon as they get to a standard where there's 2 legitimately good teams playing against each other, whole teams, that's when it's going to start to get interesting. Because if they keep it up, they could end up making their equivalent of like the NFL or the NBA, couldn't they? You know what I mean? Like having that in-house superstar league where everyone's just fucking ballers, like 11 fucking ballers playing against each other.
Just like playing, like, they're flying in LeBron James every second week just to watch games with him. And like, because like you saw the hullabaloo around Messi playing against LAFC, and they had 35 A-list actors watch their first ever football game to watch Messi. And it's like, if you could get the same thing for the Saudi league, I don't see why not. Like, I don't see why not. It could take off, but yeah, you're right. Without 2 teams being competitive, the Scottish League is an example of it. If there was not Celtic and Rangers, no one watches.
As long as they keep the dirty mitts off Paul Mullen.
Oh yeah, but it's weird because there's a chance that they could eventually come in for him because they They signed, or they were close to signing somebody from Wigan that we were linked with, Max Power. I
Yeah.
don't know whether he actually signed for him in the end, but that's like the gap's not too big there, is it?
No, it's money. It's money. Like you said, at the end of the day, would you take it? Yeah. Hell yeah, you would. Like
you got to think of it's like generational wealth, isn't it? Like if you're a footballer, you could make enough for you and your kids. You go to the Saudi and you've made enough for your great grandkids, haven't you? That's money that just like you've set them all up for life. Then can't morally, I'm very against it. But the second the Saudi school come and say to me, "You can come and triple your wages and we'll give you a house and it's all tax free," I might be like,
"See ya.
I'm off."
That's it. Oh, I love that so much.
Well, I mean, look, hopefully we have turned the corner. Because I was saying myself, like the way it seems like it's gone, that yes, it's been a slow start, but we haven't necessarily lost. Like we've just been, it literally looked like we were treading water. And now we're starting to build into something. We're starting to get that structure, the passing style of the game. We're starting to become accustomed to what League Two is going to throw at us. And, Notts County aside, great. They're on top, but they've played fucking no one. So
they've got they got They've got Dons this weekend, don't they? The MK Dons.
Yeah, so that's going to be their first big test. Coming
MK will probably pummel
side. So, but that said, it feels like we're starting to turn a corner. I do get a little worried though, like 5 shots back to back on goal, and then finally getting one over the line. Which is what happened at Newcastle.
Happened in a few games, to be honest, where they've just put it over the bar and
this is like
just not been on.
Like quick fire, just bang, bang, bang. Just I've never seen a goal like that. Like
it was weird, wasn't it?
It was very strange. It's like if you have to push that hard to score a goal in this league, like is this the Wrexham effect, or is this what this league is like? It's literally that hard to score. But then on the flip side, we've scored more than anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're creating a stupid amount of chances. It's
I'm not high enough to deal with this. What?
Yeah, nah, it's a fair point because they're just it's just bloody ridiculous how many chances we've had and we're just not converting them. I think we've missed every big chance we've had this. Like someone was reading FOTMob and it was like, in terms of statistical big chances, we've missed every single one of them, but we've still scored the most goals out of the league or whatever.
How many corners was that Tranmere?
Oh, something stupid. It was every second play. It was like
I can't remember, but I'm sure at one point in the commentary, Mark said it was 17, and that wasn't by the end of the match. So how many it was by the end of the game, I don't know. But
actually, I want to know now. I'm like,
I want to know now because I've never seen a more dominant display. Like Tranmere just got straight up pantsed. Yet we still only won by 1 goal. Like what?
And their coach said the only difference was a goal.
Oh, He's on something. I mean,
no, I want what he's on. Just put it in a bag, send it over here. I'll smoke it all day long because
that is cooked.
Oh, I couldn't believe that when I saw that interview, and he's talking about he literally said the only difference was the goal. Like he thought they were competitive. They would fuck off. They're not competitive. Not a chance. So I'm going on a rant here.
That's the Tranmere fans commenting on that was hilarious. To be fair, I've seen them all on Twitter going mental about it because even like everyone in football really partisan, aren't they? But even they were like, "Oh, fuck off, mate! This is ridiculous."
I actually saw for the first time like Tranmere and Wrexham fans having actually really nice dialogue about how shit they are. And it was like, oh my God, like I've someone said that about Wrexham, maybe in different circumstances, but I was like, they were just fully on board with, yeah, we're not good enough. We're probably going down if this is what's going to happen, if this is what we're dishing up. But yes, you were right. 17 corners was the final one as well. Wow. So that is, but still a stupid amount.
Jesus.
17, man.
It's nuts. 17.
But it shows the Luke Young effect. I think it's. I mean, I know that's not how they come about, but just seeing him take them, it just gives me a bit more confidence. I don't know. Previously, at the start of the year, it wasn't. I was like, why is he not starting? Do you reckon there was a reason behind it why he wasn't starting?
I don't know really. I think he's just maybe hasn't got that League Two pedigree or the Football League pedigree. He has played in League Two, but not to the level that some of the other players have. You know, we got Cannon from Hull, who'd been played in the Championship. So maybe Parkinson just thought he's more likely to be adjusted to the style of the league, but he's not featured since, has he? And I don't think he had a good couple of games at the start of the season. I kind of felt sorry for him, really.
Yeah.
That game against MK Dons, Cannon had an absolute. I don't like digging players out, but he had an absolute stinker.
He did.
And everyone was calling for Luke Young to come like straight in, but I could see what Parky was doing. He was giving him another game to try and get his confidence back, but it again didn't seem to really work. And then then Luke Young comes in and he just proved that he deserves to be there, isn't he?
He does.
It's elite.
I'm completely sold. I never saw it. Never saw it until Adrian's like pointed it out. He's like, no, Luke Young has to start. I'm like, why the fuck does Luke Young have to start? Never understood it. And then he started. And now I understand it. Because like he is really, really just a pest running through that midfield. And he controls his area really.
Works like a dog. Works like a dog, man.
There was a point last night that I don't know whether the cameras caught it properly, where our strikers just weren't pressing the goalkeeper, just letting him have like the Newcastle goalkeeper letting him have the ball and just sort of tinker around with it. And you could just see Luke Young like, I've had the fuck enough of this. And he just ran from like just inside our half and chased him down, because it's just, they all needed to know this is what you've got to be doing. Like go and put pressure on them, press them, just make sure that they're not having any sort of comfortable time on the ball at all. And he brings that, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. That lead by example. That's such a good point. Like he leads by example when he's on there. I was just saying, like him and Tozer. I mean, Tozer's probably had a bit of a quiet one, but I know he's got family things happened and stuff like that in the last couple of weeks. So or maybe that's impacting it. But it is good to have two leaders like that. Like when Tozer's on song, he is someone you're back in. You go to war with, and I think Luke Young's almost just is Wrexham. He is the captain. He is the reason he hasn't, the captaincy hadn't been handed over. Because I actually made a call pre-season that I thought possibly Tozer might take the reins from that. But I'm so glad it didn't happen, because I think Luke Young thrives off it. He likes being a leader. He likes being, he's not behind the camera, like in front of the camera, like some people like Ollie Palmer and Paul Mullen during the pre-season. But even just seeing him as a person, talking to the fans and stuff in the US and locals, Millie, just the way, he is with Millie as well. Like it just seems to be such a down-to-earth bloke, and easily becoming one of my favorite players that Wrexham have had. Yeah,
I used to teach Millie, by the way. She was in my form group for about a year and a half, 2 years.
No way. No way. So, we had Millie last week. That's so. Oh, the week before. Sorry.
I did see. Yeah, she's a character, isn't she?
Oh,
we love her.
Yeah, she's amazing. When she was on, that was probably one of our best episodes. That we had amazing response back from that. But just touching back. I think we should go poach Diallo from Newcastle under-21s.
He looked good, didn't he?
He
did look good.
Nuts, man. Like, what the hell's going on there? Like, just go get him. Fucking sign him. Like, put him in our team. Like, there's your replacement. You want a Mullen replacement? Fucking there it is, right there.
Give it a year. When we're in League One, that's the type of player we'll be able to attract. I think League Two is maybe just it's still a league. I think players who are in like Premier League academies, they look at League Two and the National League, and they're a bit like, oh, if I don't work at that club, I'm in the Conference North before I know it. But you go to a League One club. If it doesn't work out, you've still got League Two and the National League to sort of drop down to. So
that's a fair point.
And it's next summer's going to be dead interesting, because we've got loads of players who are out of contract. Yeah. So I think I want to say it's something like 13 players. I might be wrong. I saw it online the other day.
It's going to be real interesting.
Yeah. It's my cat just
Hey!
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's
Oh,
yay! I think you've just given Laszlo a run for this money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's seen Laszlo on TV and wants a piece of the action. I think bit of fame.
Do you ever just you have a couple beers with Mark and you're just like, we should start a cat fighting ring? Like,
we couldn't do that to our cats. No.
No. It's like anything. Like I've got dogs. They're like my babies. Like they're literally like my babies. Like I don't have kids, so I'm like, everyone's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I've got to go home to the kids. So I don't think I'll ever do that.
On that note, we'll end it here. But Bill, thank you so much for coming on our podcast.
It's been a pleasure. Cheers,
really
lads.
appreciate it, and we look forward to the day that it's Two Beards versus Dragonheart.
Oh yeah,
we'll definitely set that up 100%.
So fun. That'll be awesome.
Legend. Thanks, Bill. What a fucking legend.
Yeah. what a legend.
What a legend. I love Bill. That was a hell of a man, we should just give him a third hosting spot on our podcast. What do you reckon?
Honestly, mate, his knowledge, football knowledge, and just like obviously Wrexham heritage, being able to be a ticket holder for 20 odd years and supporter since he was born. Like, I love hearing these stories and having someone from Dragonheart that where we all started, and a lot of our listeners started listening to the commentary as well. So having another part of that, we've had Mark on before, but we've had Bill, and it's just great to get, how different they are, but also how close they are and how they also bring Wrexham to the forefront. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. So, and having his knowledge and having a good chat with him has been an absolute pleasure. So thank you, Bill, again for coming on our podcast. Now, sadly, we don't have an artist of the week this week because yours truly was too slack to reach out to people and try and find an artist. So let's be honest with that one. That's my fault. Sorry, guys. We'll make it up to you next week, I promise.
So I'm going to start singing now. Da, 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 da. No, I'm not.
No, actually, yeah. Adrian, you used to sing. Get your guitar out. Let's go. Come on.
It's just so super impromptu. I'm just going to do the James McLean chant. All right, let's go. You know what?
Watching you squirm then was priceless. That's the second time I got you tonight.
Can we get the song of the week to be the chant? Just put in the chant of the James McLean chant. Can you do that for us?
Yeah. I think I'll include one of the chants from Rockin' Robin or something. So,
or just put in the chant from the weekend and hear about James McLean.
Yeah. All right. Let's have a look into that. But guys, thank you so much for joining us again. Like, share, subscribe, join us. Become a fuckhead. Do whatever, we love you. If you just want to listen to us, just listen to us, but we would like you to subscribe. It does go a long way and does help us. So thank you all. We'll see you next week. Up the town.
Up 'em. Yeah.